Hello, folks. Bradley J Live, the Bradley J Show. Just want to check in and, just not drop out of your sphere of consciousness completely. I have spent 3 days doing something that may be shocking to you. And I want to share that and just general thoughts. I do think a lot, and this is where I get to share them. This is my voice. First, let me say I'm loving the technology, the computer stuff, even the AI. Love it. I'll talk about AI first. Like fire or the wheel, maybe not the wheel. Fire, guns, stuff like that. AI is a tool which can be and will be used for evil, but it's also great. It helps in a lot in medical care, huge in aviation, in fighter pilots, in the military world. I watched a thing last night on how they rigged a jet up, an F-16, not a drone, and it dogfought with a manned, a simulated. It was in the air, but the enemy was simulated, and it beat the simulated enemy 5 times out of 5 for various reasons. But if you can do that, that will definitely revolutionize stuff. Music mastering, you can now at home master in a pretty cool manner your own music that you make pretty cheaply. So I'm a big fan of the possibilities, and of course there's a lot of bad stuff to watch out for. You might say that it would be the death of art. I had a long conversation / debate with a family member about that, and he says no. I mean, look at that. They said that about Andy Warhol. Yeah, but Andy Warhol, while he did sort of factoryize the creation of art, it still was the brainchild of a human, whereas with AI, if it's self-learning, it won't be. Already, most things I see, like pictures of nature, I don't believe them. I can't tell if that's really that beautiful. Those colors are that beautiful or not. So that takes that away from me. I can't say, wow, that is amazing, because it could be fake. Remember they said the camera doesn't lie? Well, the camera always lied, and now it really, really lies. Boston Bob, thanks for being there. It's daytime. Bob's in the transportation industry, and he appreciates some good threads. Thank you. I bought this one before my trip when I was at my lowest weight. I said, I'm going to get this. It's a little tight now because when I went to Spain, I ate a lot of salt, and I still am in the salt eating habit. So if I could quit the salt, it'd probably fit better. But thanks, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it, because I was wondering about this, if it looked cool, and it really does. Speaking of technology, look how good this whole setup looks. Well, it's a big deal to me because technology has allowed me to use my iPhone as a webcam, and the iPhone camera is so light sensitive that I don't need as much light. So my virtual background works so fantastically with less light, fewer bulbs, and it just looks good. The lighting looks good. So I'm thrilled about that. I thought I'd share a couple things. First, and if I were a talk show host, which I guess I am, I would, if I were on WBZ, I'd at this point, tell people what I did for the weekend or whatever, and I would tell them the truth. I cleaned the house, and I love cleaning the house, and I would tell everybody why, and I will tell you that. And I would ask, do you have any things like that you like that other people would say, how can you like that? I like cleaning the house. I love it. For one thing, I am frugal. Yes, my phone is 4K, Bob, but the streaming is not. My streaming platform only at this point is 720. I could get 1080, but I'd have to pay like a lot. So it's not worth it to me. It looks really good, and it even looks good on a larger. I mean, where the resolution on a pretty large image is good. On the phone, it's fine too. On a regular laptop would be fine. So it is definitely. It's an iPhone 13 Plus, so it's actually, I think, shoots 6K or something crazy like that. But that's not worth it for me. So I like cleaning the house. I love it. It's hard work. It's kind of exercise because you get in all these corners and scrubbing and in my home, and I guess in any home, there's a certain level of dust and dirt. And you don't even realize it's there until you start cleaning. And then after you've cleaned it, you think, wow, does my place look good? Like the pots and pans, not the pots and pans, but the slow cooker. It might have a little spot of spaghetti sauce on it, and you get that. And you're, oh, there's another little spot of spaghetti sauce over here. Get it. And after you've done that, then you step back and say, wow, this place looks fantastic. So I start in one bedroom, get all the clutter to get it the heck out of there. Even little stuff like, oh, that pen over there. I'm going to move that, minimize everything, change the filter in an air purifier, a Conway air purifier, because there's a lot of pollen. Then you move into the bathroom and do that and scrub the tub. And I could have somebody else do it, but it would be weird for me to sit here and watch somebody else do that. That would be dumb. It would be weird. To be, hey, how you doing? Cleaning my tub. And believe it or not, I'm worried that they're going to screw something up. Like, I have a friend whose house cleaner scratched her like $2,000 refrigerator. And I've always been a little wary of house cleaners since that. I know the 720 is clear. It certainly is. And I'm fortunate that I think automatically somehow my internet speed bumped up, and that really enhances the ability to deal with light and also the clarity. So the internet speed is good. I mean, I thought about moving to Tangier, Morocco, but what would I do? They have terrible internet speed. If I moved there, you would never see me again. So back to cleaning. Do you like cleaning, or is that something you don't like to do? And do you have other stuff that you maybe as a kid were told, oh, thought, that's not good to do. That's not fun. Cleaning is fun for me. I wake up looking forward to today. I'm going to clean. The act of it is good. The savings is good. The feeling of accomplishment is good, and the house is clean. It looks bigger. It calms me. I hate clutter. It makes me want to tear my face off. I'm sure it's an OCD thing, but I hate it. I'm the opposite of a hoarder. I'm an expulser. I'm a get rid of her. Many times I have gotten rid of stuff and then thought, oh, wow, I need that. But it's worth it to go get another one rather than live with a pile of crap. Somebody named Bob Mr. Clean. He's a neat freak. Mr. Clean. I was watching Larry David, and he sang the Mr. Clean song the other day. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, da-da-da-da-da-da. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean. Kind of a creepy dude, Mr. Clean. And the smell? Not good. Do they call that pine smell? If I went into a forest and it smelled like Mr. Clean, I would not sleep over. So there's that. Love cleaning. And went on a picnic yesterday with the missus. It was so nice. She made crab cakes, and there were shrimp and hummus and cucumbers. It's kind of an extravagant picnic. We only walked a few hundred yards from the home and got in some woods with a bench, and it was so nice. Geese and animals and squirrels and shady trees. I love trees so much. I love trees. I'm a tree hugger. I'm a tree toucher. I like touching the bark. I love the sound they make. I love the way they look. I love the shade. I love the roots. I love them. I love what they do for the animals. I hate when people cut down trees. I'm glad to see Def HDOCD. What's that stand for, Boston Bob? HDOCD. HD. High definition OCD? Def Jam OCD. John Graham. Cleaning is the only way to go. Clutter is a huge problem. I hear you loud and clear. Yeah, thank you, John. Oh yes, the picnic. And you can bring your dog on a picnic. Some say it's, getting old. Okay, you can call it that if you want, but I did the other stuff. I have done that, and I have been there. And David Bowie said when maturity or getting old is when you become the person that you were always meant to be. I mean, all those experiences have molded me into who I am. I feel a sense of peace and ease that I did the crazy stuff. Stuff I can't tell you about, for sure. Cannot tell you. We all have stuff we probably shouldn't tell. I have a lot of it. I have so many stories that make people, that I think people are going to get a chuckle out of, and they're like, ooh. So I learned not to tell those stories. I could never tell them on the radio. I could never tell them at my job. Could never tell them to you. I've done that. I've been there. So I'm happy to sit on a bench in the woods and look at the trees and squeeze them and touch them and hug them. I love it. And as far as the picnic goes, you didn't have to drive. You didn't have to go on the T. You're not risking getting the flu or whatever. Not that that's a big issue, but still. You're not going to some irritating ass restaurant with snotty waiters and maitre d's. I mean, there are a lot of great restaurants, but I had some bad luck lately, and it's like, I don't need your pain in the neck. I did find a couple of good ones, though. So there's no dealing with irritation as far as objects, as transportation objects or people. The expense is super low. You get what you want. If you want to take a bottle of wine on your picnic, you get a bottle of wine, an entire bottle of wine. If you're cheap, like me, you get a Trader Joe's bottle of wine for $6.99, and it's perfectly fine. If you're a snooty patootie, you get a bottle of wine for $15. If you're semi-snooty patootie, you still saved billions. I mean, the meal you had on the picnic would cost you, for two people, $175 or something. Getting wine like that. I mean, a $15 bottle of wine that you buy at Trader Joe's, is going to be $60 in a restaurant. And then you have to tip them. So, love cleaning, love picnics. Now let's talk a little bit about politics. So, I don't want you to hear my opinions. I'm really asking questions when it comes to politics. I form it as a question. Do not try to read into what I think on political issues, because 50% chance you will be wrong. It just seems, does it seem to anybody else that, and I'm not picking up, I realize that the Democratic Party has its issues completely. They want some crazy, undoable stuff. I completely get it. But we're not talking about that now. We're talking about the Republican Party. I don't know if it's just the mainstream media focusing on them, but, wisely, the Democrats are keeping their mouth shut. They're not saying stuff that can be used as a cudgel against them. Cudgel! Yes, I worked that word in. We look first at Clarence Thomas. And that's not a new thing, but I just got to say that Thomas, or anyone else on the Supreme Court that is found to have done what he has done, should be removed from the Supreme Court. It's really important that we have some faith in the Supreme Court. How can you have faith in the Supreme Court when you have a justice that is that compromised? The idea, even though legally speaking, maybe you can say that his wife's opinions do not affect him. Right. What are the chances of that? Possible. unlikely. So legally speaking, you can't use that. But if what is alleged to be true is true, I don't see how you can keep them on the Supreme Court. It's just, and if they do, then that is further proof that equal justice under the law is a myth in the United States. It's a myth. He's got to go. Roberts maybe should go, but I won't get into that. So clean up the Supreme Court. Take a look at their dealings and change things so that there are rules that get followed. Going to be pretty hard to do that because the lawmakers themselves don't want to follow the rules. Then we go to, we can talk about former President Trump, whether you're a fan or not. I mean, he does have a list of offensive stuff, and it just doesn't rise. Maybe it doesn't arise to the level of that bothers you. That's your business, and maybe it doesn't. And also, there are Democrats doing offensive things too. But Trump's list is pretty long, and yet, and it's really, the list includes watching it includes malpractice in watching an attack on the Capitol and watching TV and doing nothing for hours. That is malpractice. Dude, you took an oath to protect the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You did nothing. At the very least, you did nothing. There's no debate about that. That is malpractice. That's a giant thing. Whether or not he actually planned and efforted to overthrow the government of the United States, it looks clear to me, but you might say, nah, it wasn't on him. Okay. I won't even press that one. I'll give you that one because it hasn't been proven yet because there's actually no equal justice under the law. Other things like just mocking John McCain, a hero. Come on. Mocking a handicapped person or physically challenged person like a second grader. The list goes on. As a matter of fact, if you're watching this on Facebook, can you make a list of the good things and the bad things that President Trump has done? Like if you agree with his immigration policy or installing lots of conservative judges in the courts, fine, list that as a good thing. And then be honest and list the bad things too. So this Thomas, and I don't think his conservativeness is the reason for his alleged corruption, but there it is. You got the Attorney General in Texas, who's such a mess, and yet people are and unanimously bounced out or getting bounced out, and yet he's got supporters outside. What did they say during the McCarthy trials? Have you no decency? Have you no decency, people? What the bleep happened to trying to get decent human beings, kind of law-abiding human beings with a sense of decency in office? That doesn't seem to be a thing for, and I'm just as an observer. Like, let's say the Red Sox are, let's not say the Red Sox because there may be some bias. I'm not a Sox fan, but let's just say two baseball teams. I can observe something going on and not necessarily be on one side or the other. If one side is cheating, even if my side is cheating, even if the Red Sox were cheating, which they did, I gotta call it out. So that's what I'm saying here is, come on, GOP, what happened? How did you get this way? And why are many folks support that? The bottom line is there are upstanding public servants that will do what you want, that will enact your policies, that will vote for what you want. If you're a conservative, you want tighter border control. You want to get rid of free trade. You want the stuff you want. That's okay. There are decent human beings that can achieve those goals. Why do you back People like George Santos, and that's not even his actual name, is it? Why? Is it, some people say, well, that's just a minority of folks who support these folks. Not really. You look at the huge amount of support President Trump has. So why not support somebody else? Find something with somebody with some decency. Now, you take a look at DeSantis. Okay, I wanted to kind of back him as an alternative to President Trump. Not that I would vote for him, just say, this guy's not so bad. I mean, he's conservative, but he is so bad. I mean, he along with others in the GOP are becoming making the party of the culture war and not governing. It's like banning books, going to war with culture war with Disney. It's like, what is your problem, dude? Pay attention to business. If abortion is your thing, either way, I mean, that is a serious issue. But becoming the book banning, radical, butt kissing dude like that is like, what? There have to be people that you can vote for that are not that they're decent and deserve your respect. Why not back those people? Not all conservatives are like that. It would be a better country if both parties, and actually no, if the voters would value decency again and understand that the way this country works is compromise. That's how you do it. Compromise. That's the whole setup. If this debt thing works out, which it better, it happened because of compromise. So you're way better off to live between the 40s, as I say, to use a football reference. Politically, be between the 40s, or at least between the 35s. Anywhere more far in your end zone than that, you're a nut, and it's not helping the country. Bob's got to go, huh? Boston, Bob, not a fan at all of how divided the United States are. Not like I've ever seen before. We are sadly no longer the United States. Yep, it's true. Of course, we were divided in the Civil War. True, and that had to be crazy brutal. We can't even imagine that, right? Even though we think we can imagine a new Civil War, we can't. I mean, you can't. Imagine people from New Hampshire and Massachusetts fighting each other, like actually lining up and having firefights. We do have a lot of mass shootings, but this would be a different thing. Have an amazing rest of your day. An amazing rest of my day. Whoa. Thanks for that, Bob. Not just a good one, an amazing one. I appreciate it. Anything else? No, I did want to try out the new technology. I'm sorry about my bandana. It's a little ratty looking. And I did want to just check in with my thoughts. Oh, Ukraine war. I follow that very carefully. That's a huge deal. And okay, I'll finish up with this. And this is political. And it's kind of an observation. The observation is, isn't it interesting that the GOP have made our longtime enemy into somebody they favor? Former President Trump is a big fan of the murderous Putin. There's no doubt about it, his murderousness. And how can you be a fan of Putin? Didn't he call him a genius? Isn't he a fan? He says he could end the Ukraine war in a day. Well, he said that about Korea, basically, too, right? He was going to fix Korea. How'd that work out? The only way he would end the Ukraine conflict is to simply give away Ukraine to Putin, his pal. I don't get why he's such a pal. I don't think it has to be something more than just admiration of the the strength of the man. Is it just that? Is he really willing to side just with somebody just because he admires their strength without any regard to their murderousness? I don't know. Anyway, and then to see other folks like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and this is just hurtful and confusing to me, forget or never understand that Putin is the bad guy. There are good guys and there are bad guys. Putin is a bad guy. His behavior is bad. And that Europe overall is on our side and are the good guys. And former President Trump stomped on that and rooted for the bad guy and gave the finger to the good guys. I don't know what it is. I have perfect amount of respect for conservatives. Find somebody with a sense of decency to make your post, to vote for. Right now, it's tough for you guys. I know. You got President Trump and you got DeSantis. DeSantis is a dud, not going to win. I said before that Trump would not be, and DeSantis would also not be. Neither of them would be the nominee. That's a crazy ass thing to say. But since I'm not an expert, I don't mind saying it. If I'm wrong, I just won't remind anybody that I was wrong. If I'm right, I will remind you all the time. And I got away from that because it was so nuts. But now I feel like, why not? Why not play the long shot and say neither of them will be the nominee? Who would it be? I don't know. But a lot can happen between now and then. For one, Trump is going to beat the snot out of DeSantis and make him look like a tool. More of a tool than he already appears. So that's kind of taken care of. What happens with former President Trump? President Trump, is we don't know. There are a lot of variables. He could just decide not to run, for whatever reason. That's not going to happen because he uses running for president as a protection against prosecution, which is a smart thing to do. And he has a lot of supporters, but who knows what could happen? Something unforetold could take place. Somebody could come out of nowhere. One of the reasons that President Trump's polling numbers are so high, there are no alternatives at this point. Nobody knows. Asa Hutchinson, Nikki Haley, I don't know who would have a shot. Maybe Chris Christie. We'll see. Maybe Sununu. We don't know what's going to happen. Oh, one wild card might be Liz Cheney. Everybody hates Liz Cheney. The left hates Liz Cheney because of her and her father's awfulness, their perceived awfulness. And then a lot of the right hates her because she dumped on Trump. On the other hand, if you are a real conservative person, if you are an anyone but Trump, a real conservative person, looking for someone that, while super conservative and maybe odiously so to many, did fight against the attempted overthrow of the government of the United States of America. She gets points for that. So we'll see how it turns out. Thanks for being with me. I do post this to an audio podcast on Buzzsprout, and it's surprisingly popular. People like audio podcasts, and it's easy. I just suck out the audio and post it up there. So if you only heard part of this, you want to hear the whole thing, tell your friends. Anything else? Oh, just, what I've been doing recently is, how when you play tennis with somebody better than you get better. I'm trying to hang around with people that are smarter and nicer and wiser than I am. So I've been reaching out to people I know and cultivating relationships that never happened. And that's working out great. You might want to think about that. Time spent with somebody that you're not learning anything from is a waste. It really is. It's kind of treading water, and time is very valuable, and why not spend time with someone that ups your game? And by game, I mean your knowledge, your decency, whatever. One way to be better is hanging around with better people. And there are a lot of better people than I. So that's my little bit of wisdom there. What am I going to do now? Oh, I've been spectacularly unproductive today. So I have to work on my post-punk radio show, which made it to number 2 last week in the global Mixcloud charts. I dig Mixcloud. I do the show at WZBC, but I really like Mixcloud because it's heard all over the world, and it came in number 2 in the global shoegaze chart, which is interesting to me because I don't consider a lot of what I play shoegaze. It's all post-punk, and under shoegaze you get subgenres like dark wave, cold wave, shoegaze, electronic, etc. And I think it's more cold wavy than... Cold wave is like, all right, there's new wave, and then there's dark, like gothic, dark wave. Like Sisters of Mercy is dark wave. They're kind of the kings of dark wave. Then you get stuff that's not always talking about graves and death and stuff. They don't really, but there's a lot of dark wave that is morose and kind of folk, like horror movie-y. There's cold wave, which is just cold, dispassionate or non-passionate lyrics, distance, detached kind of, which is, I guess, what I would like best. Then the shoegaze. Shoegaze is kind of, usually has a washy sound and a lot of reverb, and the people just stare at their shoes. In some ways, the Cars were kind of a shoegaze band. I guess you could Radiohead that. It's from the anti-rockstar era. You had grunge, and then kind of after that, I think you got into shoegaze and the era where it was just not cool to be a star. Kind of phony baloney, right? Okay. Anything else, Bob? Sorry, not into politics at all. Okay, that's fine. It's politics isn't. I get it. I understand that 100%. There are levels of politics. There's politics where it's a hobby. I'm not into that. There's politics where it affects your everyday life, and you need to be a wise voter. That's kind of different. It's folks' job to have some clue, to be able to sort out the truth from the non-truth, because it's pretty hard these days. So you gotta spend some time looking at multiple sources. Actually, there's a news source called Ground News. They are a sponsor of a lot of podcasts. Ground News gives you, they take a topic and they'll give you 15 articles on it, and from 15 sources or something, something like that. But they'll tell you how many of the stories about it fall conservative, how many fall liberal. They'll tell you about the source, whether that falls conservatively or liberal. They will give you their estimation of the level of factuality. So, Ground News might be something you want to look into. I think it's something you pay for, but not much. And in a world where a domestic beer is $10 in a bar, one beer, that's disgusting, isn't it? In that world, $10-12 a month for whatever it is, maybe not even that much, to have a clear grasp on the facts might be worth it. Okay, thank you very much. I gotta go try to lose some weight so this jacket fits better. It looks all right though, doesn't it? It feels a little tight to me, but I'm used to having my stuff loose. It costs Well, the list price was $75. I got it used, vintage, but I got it on sale for probably like $55. And it's, it's fancy. It's nice. Love George. Boston Bob. Okay. Thank you all, and we will talk to you soon. We have Michael Coyne on Thursday, which is good. This is kind of a dress rehearsal for that, using the new technology, which looks so bleeping great. Mike Coyne's going to come on and catch us up on the various legal stuff going on, and Rich Rubino will be back on Sunday, and I'm going to make more of an effort to book some other people because I've been doing other stuff, but now I'm going to do that some more. All right. Talk to you soon, and check the on Spotify. There's my album from the band, or my project with another person, called Bridge Bender. It's a good album. You'll be surprised. It's mastered using AI. And there's the videos, the travel videos, the new ones of Spain and Morocco. So far, just Morocco. On the YouTube channel, I have the travel YouTube channel called Bradley J. Travel. It would really be great for me if you'd search those out on Spinitron. Not Spinitron, on Spotify. We got Bridge Bender, and on the YouTube channel, it's Bradley J. Travel. So thank you, and